Hi guys, I'm Shmee. Hello and welcome back to the channel where you join me today to take in the highlights of the 2019 Frankfurt Motor Show. We're going to check out Lamborghini's new hypercar, the Sián. We'll also explore some of the new concepts, the likes of the Mercedes Vision EQS and the BMW Concept 4. There are also plenty of long-awaited production cars, including the new Defender from Land Rover, Audi's RS6 and RS7 Sportback, and of course Porsche's electric Taycan. Let's do this then and check out the highlights of this year's Frankfurt Motor Show. Now this is a big one, the Lamborghini Sián. It is their latest hypercar from the few-offs series, of which they're only going to be building 63 units in total. It's Lamborghini's most powerful and fastest car ever. It is also their first production hybrid. It has a 6.5-litre naturally aspirated V12, connected also to a lithium-ion supercapacitor, so it creates a total of 819 horsepower. 785 of that coming from the combustion engine, the additional 34 from an item that weighs only 34 kilos connected to the gearbox to create the additional power. What you're looking at is a car with bespoke carbon fibre bodywork, and every one of the 63 units are all going to be painted in different schemes. They will all have their own unique look. As the car spins in front of us, look at the aggression of the design. Carbon fibre bodywork throughout, based of course on a carbon fibre monocoque as well, a permanent four-wheel drive system, but you have these Y shapes, for example, for the headlights up front, representing that Thunderbolt theme that you can see from it. But just look at this thing, elongated, that extended front end that you have. There's some integrated aero, there's a rear wing that will raise, there are also flaps that will open for additional cooling. Up on the roof you'll spot the electrochromic glass that you have as well, and as it spins around in front of us you'll notice the tribute here where it says FKP37, paying tribute to the late Ferdinand Piëch, one of the founders and significant names in the Volkswagen group and the Porsche family as well. But look at it as it comes around in front of us, 63 representing the year that Ferruccio Lamborghini founded the company back in 1963. You've got some distinct design to it, the 6 taillights, 3 on each side, and the hexagonal pattern. And again, look at those tailpipes down at the back, which no doubt when we get to hear this car are going to sound truly monumental. You've got 355 section rear tyres as well, the connection down to the ground. Those 4 openings are the active flaps that you have for the cooling of the engine. But everything about this is everything a Lamborghini should be. This is by far and away one of the most anticipated launches at this show, the new Land Rover Defender, born out of the DC100 concept seen a few years ago and released in a number of different specifications. This is the 3-door known as the 90. They've also simultaneously launched the 110, the 5-door, and you can see a few demonstrations and examples of the cars available with a number of different configurations, even a hybrid engine available, but still familiar shapes. For example, the more squared off wheel arches that you have around the car, some unusual design to it as well. Let's have a quick glimpse also through to the interior, where you have a digital display for the driver's dashboard. You've also got the infotainment 10-inch screen in the center as well, but very much based on the off-roading capabilities. Of course, the core really of the Land Rover lineup, of course, it's grown out now. You have many different models, the Range Rovers, etc., and some of the design in a similar way to that found on the Discovery, but this is a car that a lot of people have been waiting to see. You've got familiar traits, for example, the very short overhang, of course, helping with off-roading capabilities, wading depth, for example. You can have the car with all sorts of different accessory packs and options, and even just having this ruggedized look over the top gives the perception of exactly what this car is about. And the crowds that have been around them all day since they've been revealed here at the Frankfurt Motor Show have just been incredible. Unsurprisingly, it's been a long time in the coming. I think years and years since the first ideas of a new Defender, really a completely overhauled Defender, were mooted for the first time. But this is it, presented here, the debut of the Land Rover Defender. Center stage at Mercedes, we have the new Vision EQS. It's a world debut, the Vision cars of course being their concepts, a look towards the future, what they're working on under, in this case, the EQ banner. Of course, they're fully electrified vehicles, and the S at the end representing the pinnacle in luxury. The Mercedes-Benz S-Class has always been a model that introduces new technology, new levels of luxury that later on filter down the different lines in their model lineup. And in this case, of course, the EQS is going to hint towards some of those. So the proportions, very familiar S-Class, but lots of things that are different, lots of technology technology. For example, round at the very front, you'll see this grille, we could say, in the shape that's been seen on the EQC, the small form factor SUV that's launched to market already, but in this case with 188 stars that illuminate that you can see as well. But also look at this, look at the almost holographic headlights. Looking forward to seeing how that's going to evolve as well. Of course, things change before they reach production. The 24-inch wheels will probably be done away with, and at this stage we can only get a small teaser of the interior yet to be completed, but perhaps we're going to be seeing tablet screens here in the center, and this will filter through to the normal mainstream S-Class model as well when that arrives. Around at the back, similarly to the front, you've got 229 stars to illuminate in the tail light style, the Vision EQS badging back there. This based on a fully electrified platform. This car will have around about 470 horsepower, 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in about 4.5 seconds as a result, but it will still allow some self-driving, steering wheel in place where you'd expect to find it. But with the dual-tone design they've introduced for this, it's an early hint towards what the EQS will be like when a saloon member joins the Mercedes EQ family, and potentially not too long in the future. Over here in the AMG area, we have a number of cars to take a look at today, starting right in front of us with the new AMG GLB 35. Now this mixes the AMG A35's powertrain with the new mini SUV form factor from Mercedes-Benz of the GLB. The one thing that isn't so much to my taste is the, I would say, overuse now of the AMG Panamericana front grille. That was originally introduced as a halo thing on the AMG GTR, where it now finds itself across every model in the range, as we're looking at here on the GLB 35. Now alongside it is the A45S 4MATIC Plus. This is the first edition, the car that has that funky new drift mode, and then at the back we have the new GLE 53 Coupe. Now the GLE had already been launched, the Coupe is new at this show with that sloping rear roofline, but the 53s have the new 3-litre inline-6 engine with EQ boost, and again of course the Panamericana front grille around the front. This particular car though has a very trick suspension system that allows it to do all sorts of different things, lots of off-roading capability, and you have to say, despite the slight loss of practicality, it is quite a good looking car. This kind of format, this coupe SUV, has become significantly more normal than when it was first ever introduced. Here's something quite fun then. This is a G500 from G Manufacture, some new options that Mercedes-G have introduced for the G-Wagon, and if you're familiar with my G63, you will know that I went to Topaz to install the Topaz skin. I did cerulean blue, and I did the arches and the bumpers in a satin navy blue to match with my Senna. This though is a G500 in what they call South Sea blue, also with the dual tone with the bumpers and arches, that's been released since we did the designs and renders for mine. How funny is that it almost matches my car, but you can now have this actually from the factory, which is pretty cool. Heading over to Audi, where we also have Mr. Daniel Abt on the e-tron scooter. Now that's a good way to get around the show. Showing how it's done. How are you?
What's up? All good?
All very good. That's the best way to get around the...
What you need here.
Definitely. Enjoy. Have a good one. A big launch here then is the Audi RS7 Sportback, the injection of Audi Sport Energy into the A7 Sportback. And what we have here is a 4-litre bi-turbo V8 making 600 horsepower, but also a new look to the car, wider arches. You have optional 22-inch wheels. You have those distinct Audi LED headlights, the matrix lights, this wider, more angular front grille as well. The openings up top, reminiscent of some of the Audi race cars from the past. And if we come round towards the rear of the car, and of course the A7 and the RS7 have this sloping roofline, the hatchback at the rear, you've got the full width tail light, the signature Audi Sport style oval exhaust tailpipes inside the carbon fibre diffuser. With the all-wheel drive, 0 to 100 takes just 3.7 seconds, and it surely looks good as well. Based on the same platform as the RS6, it was launched just ahead of the show, which we'll be able to find amongst the sea of different Audi models you have lined up here. We head towards the rear, of course, a very popular one, the RS6, the advanced style. You can see the different look at the front with the silver lower trim piece, and also the interior of this car is filled with displays, the virtual cockpit for the driver and the dual MMI displays. For the RS6, the Avant, the Estate, a hugely popular car in its previous form factor, now presented as well here as we just have a quick look at how exactly this car shapes up, and maybe I can show you the interior ever so quickly as well, where you can see all of those different screens as well, and the technology that the car offers. So the RS7 and the RS6 both shown here amongst all of the other models in the Audi lineup, including the Formula E car up there on the wall as well. Up next is one of the most significant cars actually that has been shown at this year's Frankfurt Motor Show. This is Volkswagen's ID.3, an entry into a more affordable full electric hatchback. There are 3 different versions that range from £25,000 to £40,000, and Volkswagen actually took pre-orders for 15,000 units in just 1 week. But following on from their historical successes with the Beetle, with the Golf, the ID.3 is their vision as to what's coming next. And I'm sure it's not going to be all that long until we're seeing a lot of these. Practicality, small form factor, ease of use, and an electric vehicle that will offer up to 350 miles of electric driving in the higher spec version. It has around 201 horsepower, 140 or so horsepower in the base spec, which will still get you 260 miles or so of range. This is the car that pretty much the entire world has been waiting for, the Porsche Taycan. Porsche's development from the concept known as the Mission E, now in its production spec form. This is the Taycan Turbo. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that name in a moment. There is also the flagship Turbo S, but the two cars offer extraordinary power outputs. We're talking just in the Turbo 680 horsepower, and yes, I say that very lightly. In the Turbo S, you have 761 horsepower and 1,050 Newton meters, and actually a Turbo S has set a record lap at the Nürburgring Nordschleife for a 4-door electric vehicle with a time of just 7 minutes and 42 seconds. What we're looking at though is a car that has distinct 911 characteristics. Porsche have been working on it for a very long time, and this car, the Turbo, looks stunning as well. Now that name, Turbo, how can it be called Turbo when there is no turbo? There's no combustion engine, and certainly not one with forced induction. It is, however, of course, for Porsche, the positioning in the range. In the future, there will be the Taycan S, maybe the Taycan GTS, and up top the Turbo and the Turbo S, starting up towards the top end. The Turbo S comes in with a price tag of about 160,000 euros or so, which makes it almost double the Tesla Model S P100D, and that's where the big comparisons are coming in, because from this we're talking 450 kilometers of range versus 480 from the Tesla. We're talking a top speed that comes about 2 or 3 kilometers an hour shorter. We also have slightly less in terms of acceleration. 0 to 100 in this car, or in the Turbo S, is 2.8, and the Tesla is just 2.4 with its ludicrous mode that has been well documented. In terms of looks though, it remains true to the original concept in many ways, being clean here in front of us, but in terms of the headlight styling, the shape, the looks of the car, of course you have efficient style of wheels that you can see on the sides of it. Inside will be a Porsche in terms of the latest technology and everything that's available in terms of safety systems, and going forwards, hopefully more options being introduced as well. It's a sleek car, it's a low car, and it's very impressive to be able to see both of these sitting side by side here, finally presented to the world. A long-awaited vehicle, new Porsche Taycan, is now here, and it'll be very interesting to see how they do and how successful it is when they start delivering cars in the not too distant future to customers around the world. Here's a car then revealed here at the show that is proving to be quite a talking point. This is BMW's new Concept 4, a look towards the next generation of the 4 Series. Now for the previous generation, the 4 was actually visually the same as the 3, but for the Coupe, the Convertible and the Grand Coupe. In this case though, this is quite a departure from the new generation of the 3 Series, and in particular this is to do with the look at the front end and those dual kidney grills. With the new facelifted, or the LCI of the 7, BMW created a discussion around the size of the grills. In this case, it's a link back to the old 328i Sport, but as you can see they are narrow and they are tall, and BMW fans are having a big mixed response to that. Now either side of the grills, which personally I think look really quite good and suit this car a lot, you've got those headlights which unfortunately won't be making it to production specification because there's no lens cover over them, but they're futuristic, they're narrow, and their appearance is very, very sporty, and that's the whole impact or intention with this car, to give it a sportier look than the 3. Maybe this is what we'll be seeing with the new M3 or the M4, or perhaps even just the base models of the 4 Series in terms of how this looks. The colour is undoubtedly stunning, and I'll come around just to show you a little bit more of the rear of the car. You can see a similar effect with the 3D sculpting, the tail lights, the BMW logo that you have around towards the side. But the Concept 4, in my eyes, is actually a stunning looking thing, and I really hope that it comes to market just like this. BMW have shown in the past with the i8 in particular that they were able to do that, and we also have other models here, the M8 Competition, the BMW M Next is also just tucked in towards the back, but I'm a big fan of the look of this, the new BMW Concept 4, the concept presented here at the Frankfurt Motor Show. This is the BMW X6 that is painted in Vanta Black. Now Now, Vanta Black actually absorbs 99.96% of visible light. What that means is that the car in front of me is basically not reflecting all that much at all. And in this particularly dark room as well, as you can see, the camera almost struggles to actually see it, but that is actually quite cool and a completely unique thing. But don't expect to see this paint colour on a production car anytime soon. That's all I'll say. As well as the Vanta Black car, there is of course the normal X6 M50i, the new third generation of the X6, based on the platform of the M5, but now longer, wider, and also sitting slightly lower with a number of different engine options available. I have to say, actually really quite like the look of the rear end. It's improved significantly since the first generation of the X6. Brabus are absolutely on form with this. An AMG G63 now with a V12. This thing, the G V12 900, makes 900 horsepower, 1,500 Newton meters of torque. It has their full wide star package, 10 centimeters wider than the standard car, an overhauled interior, and of course all the work required to put a big V12 up front. They've got their new 24-inch wheels, but the stand, as always, filled with a wonderful array of cars. You've got the new G Adventure just behind, but this is a bit of a monster, the absolute beast of a G V12 900. And there is also a facelift to the Audi A5, the coupe and the convertible behind me, but that's it for a quick highlights tour of this year's Frankfurt Motor Show, the 2019 IAA. We've seen the likes of the Lamborghini Sian, some of the concepts, the EQS, and also the Concept 4 from BMW, and then of course a few cars that we've been waiting a long time to see. So what's your highlight? What's been your favourite car that we've seen at this year's show? Do let me know in the comments down below, but for now, that is all. Thank you very much for watching. As always, guys, I appreciate your support. That's it this time. I'll see you again very soon. Cheers!